It's Saturday night, and I hope your day has been good and your evening. Tonight, I'm going to read you a story called The Story of the Cow. So, I'm just going to go over to the Medium account to read it. So, as I say, it's the story of the cow, and it is as follows. Now, I will probably ad lib a little bit because I've discovered a bit more while not while, but after I wrote this. So, once a month, a group of us who attended an interfaith summer school, Elijah Interfaith Summer School, by Zoom in 2020 meet. We tend to discuss whatever turns up. This month, it was in the form of a message from a Muslim brother. I think I may have asked him to recommend a chapter of the Quran to read. I asked because each time I've attempted to read the Quran, I stop after a page or two. This also happened with Homer's Odyssey, so it's more about me and my ability to connect with an unfamiliar literacy style than it is about the religious text. He recommended a chapter titled The Cow, Al-Baqarah, which is presumably the Arabic for cow or the cow. If I understood the story after trying to read different texts and watching an animated version of the story, it's about a man who is killed. In an attempt to find out who murdered the man, the people ask Moses, or in Arabic Musa, for help. He tells them to sacrifice a cow and they will find out. The people keep asking questions about what type of cow to the point that they're told a yellow one. They look for a yellow one and find it in the ownership of a young boy. The boy's price is as much gold as fills the cow. They reluctantly agree. The cow is sacrificed, and a part of it, some say the heart, is set on the dead man. The dead man comes to life, names his killer, and then returns to death. That to me seems to be the summary of the story. Now, what I should say, I happened to be in the library today and I opened a copy of the Quran. And although the chapter, or the surah as it's called, is called the Heifer, there's a lot more verses. So this story is only a part of that chapter. It's not actually the whole chapter. There's a lot of stuff around it, so it actually took me a while to actually find the story. And even when I found the story, it wasn't as clear to me as what I'd heard and what I'd seen in the animated version. I think what I'm saying about this is that it's actually quite an exercise, at least for some of us, to get into another text or culture. So I was reflecting this back, and of course, if somebody started reading the Hebrew Bible at Numbers, or even possibly a gospel, one of the gospels starts with the genealogy of Christ, and it's very long-winded. Was the son of son, was begat this one, begat that one. And that made me think, I'm probably not being totally fair, but it also made me think that it's so important to get this as a child, because it's quite difficult to understand religious texts, depending on how they're written, as an adult. And even if they are well written, unless you have a particular interest, it's going to be a struggle to get into it. Because why? I think the literacy style, the concepts. So it made me think I'm thankful that I was schooled in the Hebrew Bible and the Christian New Testament as a child. Anyway, back to the story. Our brother had said that these stories are in the Hebrew Bible. I'd never heard the story, so I was interested to find out. Another one of our group found the article below. So there's an article in the story written by a postgrad, I believe, at Cardiff University. It's called The Torn Cow in Surah Al-Baqarah and the Hebrew Bible. So this grad does connect three stories in the Hebrew Bible to this story, but they're not exact, and they're very different stories actually. So I wouldn't say, as far as I can see, that the story of the cow in the Quran is also in the Hebrew Bible. So you may wonder what's the point of all this, and hopefully, as I've spoken, I've told myself what the point of it is. Never mind you. I just sort of end with kind of that two things. One, I know a story in the Quran, which I don't think I knew before. I'd heard stories about the Prophet from the Hadith, which is secondary writings, stories within the tradition, but not the Quran itself. So at least I've got a starting point, and who knows, as I say today, I opened the Quran and actually find a translation that was fairly easy to read, but as I say, the literary style is, have you noticed I say literacy and literary, mix those two words up. The literary style is, I don't find particularly easy. So, as I was probably saying, I end by saying, secondly, the kind gives me a perspective I didn't previously have. I still find it somewhat puzzling that such a story is given the title of a chapter in the Quran. It's good for me to be puzzled, as it causes me to dig deeper and to try to see what is obvious to others. And I think my afterthought and reflections I've shared with you, which aren't in the story, about trying to see it through my own lens of reading the Hebrew Bible and the Christian New Testament, and how difficult that would be coming to it as an adult and as somebody who wasn't particularly familiar with Christianity or Judaism. So there you go.